Well, hello, my name is Andrew and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to my YouTube channel if you're new here. It's great to have you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today's video is another one of my little fun, rambly videos where I talk about things that I enjoy, and today's video is going to be about my viola. And if you've been hanging around my channel for a while, you will have seen this instrument a few times in all the Eric Whitaker multi-track videos from 2020, the first 5 that I did, arrangements that I did for 2 violins, 2 violas, 4 horns. This is the viola that I was playing in those recordings. But if you've seen my other instrument feature video about my other violin and viola, that are both not mine, that I've also featured on the channel and also played in recordings. You've probably also seen that other viola that belongs to my best friend, and I don't have it anymore because it has been returned to him. But anyway, I have, for the last few months, I've been reunited with my own viola, and I've never taken the time to feature this instrument and talk about it here on the channel, and I've not really heard a lot about these particular instruments that much, so my hope is that this video might attract some of the stringed instrument nerds out there, and we can have a fun time discussing in the comments or whatever. But anyway, this viola, there's not a whole lot to the story of this viola, but it has become very special to me because I've had it for a long time, and it's become quite a significant part of my musical voice. So when I was about 10 years old or so, I began playing the viola. For the first time, I was attracted to it because it played lower notes. And I think particularly at that point in my life, like I wanted lower notes. I hadn't had my voice change yet. I still had my little boy high voice. I wanted to be able to sing low bass parts, and I wanted to be able to play low notes on instruments because it just seemed so cool to me at the time. I was about 10 maybe, and at first I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if I could play the cello? I mean, the cello is such a cool instrument. It's so beautiful and it's so expressive, but it's also got these deep low notes and it can be so powerful and so commanding in its low register. And my parents were like, no, Andrew, we're not getting you a cello. It's too expensive, it's too big. You already play the violin. The violin's already expensive enough. You've already been playing it for a long time. We're not getting you a cello. So I was like, well, what about viola? Some people double on the viola. The viola's more similar. It'll be easier to learn. And lucky enough for me, we had a violin. I don't have it in my possession at the moment. Another good friend of mine from high school has it right now, but I had a violin. It was a very cheap violin that was full size that had been given to me by a friend from our church, and it was just sitting in a closet being unplayed. And I was told by a teacher that, hey, if you have a larger sized violin laying around, you can restring it as a viola, and that can sort of get you started for at least just learning how to play it and how to navigate the instrument and all that stuff. So I was super excited when I heard about that, so I just took that violin and took it to a shop. They fixed up a couple things on it and put new strings on it, a new set of wonderful dominant viola strings on it, and I began playing it in the youth orchestra. I was playing viola in youth orchestra on that instrument, and that was what got me started. And I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun for me, and the thing I think that was so attractive about the viola, especially in the context of an orchestra or a string quartet, those were the groups I was playing in most commonly. The viola had this kind of hidden role in there, where it wasn't really playing the melody a whole lot, but it was kind of acting as this glue and bridge between kind of the two different worlds of the orchestra, the lower strings, the cellos and basses, and the violins. Viola often had these really cool, really interesting sort of harmonic parts that kind of brought everybody together, and also totally on brand for my personality. There were very few violists. I think for quite a while in youth orchestra there were only 4 of us playing viola, whereas there were probably like 15 or 20 violinists. And I loved that because I felt like I pulled a lot more weight, because I was playing an unpopular instrument, and that was just cool to me. It always has been, to do the thing that nobody else does. That's kind of my thing, I guess. I eventually upgraded to a real viola. I got a 15-inch viola. That was a cheap Chinese-made one, but it was a really well put-together instrument, and it had a great sound, and I really progressed on it a lot. And then I was told, hey, the Brobst violin shop, which is one of the local fantastic violin shops in the Washington, D.C. area where I grew up, I was told, hey, Andrew, they have a Kiernoziak Viola. Have you ever heard of Kiernoziak? He's a really awesome maker of violins, violas, and cellos, but his violas are particularly awesome, and they're about to skyrocket in value, and you should totally snag this one before it's gone. I know it's too big for you right now, but you should buy it, and you know, they can keep it for you at the shop, and then once you grow big enough to play it, then you can have it, and it's yours. And I was like, okay. So, you know, I did try it out back then, and it was really hard to play just because it was so huge. I was playing this viola in the shop, and it felt like I was playing a house, practically. It's hilarious. But anyway, eventually, you know, we did buy it, and this is, I should read you the label. This is, in fact, a viola by Stanley Kiernoziak, made in Chicago in 2008. This is a 2008 instrument, so it's quite modern. It's super duper new, practically brand new. It's only 14 years old now, which is in its infancy. But anyway, I tried this viola. I thought it was good, you know, as much as I could assess in the difficulty with its size at the time. And eventually, I grew big enough to play it. When I was about 12 or so, it seemed to be about time. And so I took it home from the shop and traded in the old 15-inch viola that I had, and started playing this one full time. And then eventually, you know, as I focused more on my horn playing in high school, I found this viola not really getting played as much. And I wish I had spent more time really studying the instrument, because I only really took about 3 years of lessons, of formal training on the viola itself. And as you can probably hear throughout this video and my playing, I probably sound like a violinist playing the viola, which is really what I am. I'm more of a violinist, but it is quite an aspiration of mine to become a true violist. I want to be both. I want to be as much of a violist as I am a violinist. I want to really play this instrument the way that it wants to be played. And so hopefully at some point I'll be able to get more lessons to really get my technique in gear. But for now, I'm just kind of, you know, practicing the instrument and just kind of trying to listen to it and respond to the feedback it gives me, and trying to really play it and find the way that it wants to be played. And also listening to recordings, and also shout out to James Prussell, the Viola King, the man himself, who has been a huge inspiration to me. I love his content. He's had a couple videos that have actually been super helpful for me in kind of discovering the right way to approach technique on the viola, and what sound I should want to hear from the instrument as well, which has been awesome. So James, if you're watching this, you're awesome, and keep doing what you're doing. It's fantastic. So anyway, this is, I haven't told you yet what size this instrument is. This is actually a slightly smaller than average viola. This is a 15 3/4 inch viola by Kiernoziak. But it has a pretty impressive sound, I think, for its size. I've played violas that are bigger than this that don't sound as resonant. So I think it's really quite impressive what Mr. Kiernoziak has done in his design of this instrument. It's also incredibly light. It's a very lightweight viola. And so my arm doesn't really get all that tired when playing, which is awesome. So one thing that I'm kind of in a path of discovery and searching about right now is what strings to use, because forever and ever I used dominant strings on both violin and viola. That was just my teacher recommendation, and I just never thought to try anything else. But as prices for these strings have skyrocketed over the last 10 years or so, I'm realizing I need something more cost effective. I can't spend $120 on a set of strings for my viola every 6 months, or even more often than that. Like, that's ridiculous. I do not have the budget for that. So right now I have a set of Xiaxes on here, and this is a Larsen A, of course it's a Larsen A, because I had an extra one that was unused that was sitting around, so I was like, hey, why not? I'll use the Larsen A. But I will say that the Larsen A is actually not a great match for the Xiax set. It's too bright, and the Xiaxes are not powerful enough to really keep up with it. So it's not my favorite combination. The Xiaxes are actually pretty impressive quality for the price. The sound I'm able to get out of them is actually quite good. And if you were to buy a full set of them, it's only about $62 right now, I think, which is very impressive. It's literally half the price of dominance. So with the sound and feel that I'm getting from these Xiaxes, I'm very impressed. But still, there is a little bit of unclarity and grittiness in the sound, especially in the soft dynamics, and I don't quite have as much power as I want, and not quite as much complexity in the sound. And in some places, especially in the forte and louder, it can get a little bit brittle. The sound gets a little bit brittle and a little overly bright. Anyway, if you're a violist and you have recommendations for the best strings that you can get on a budget, let me know in the comments. Please tell me your whole spiel, your whole thoughts on the deal. I'd love to know about it. Well, hi there. This little man has come to say hi, and I think that's my cue to end the video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today and hearing me ramble on about my viola that I love very much. And this is Chester. He says hi. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.